What was the turning point in the First World War? Many historians argue it was the First Battle of the Marne. As the war was just beginning to unfold in the early days of September 1914, the German forces were making a swift advance. They plowed through Belgium, trampling over its neutrality, and forged ahead into the heartland of France. At the core of their strategy was the Schlieffen Plan. This ambitious military operation aimed to encircle and crush the French army swiftly before the Russian forces could mobilize to the east. The strategic importance of the Marne River was not lost on them, serving as a natural barrier to the French capital, Paris. Initially, the German forces tasted success. Their advance was rapid and seemingly unstoppable, covering vast swaths of land. But as they pushed further into French territory, their lines began to thin out, stretching their resources to a breaking point. As the German advance slowed, the stage was set for a significant confrontation, the First Battle of the Marne. In early September 1914, the French and British forces launched a counter-offensive that would alter the course of the war. As the first whispers of autumn rustled through the countryside, the air was filled not with peace, but with the clamor of war. The First Battle of the Marne was about to unfold. The battle was a desperate contest of will and strategy. The Germans had hoped their Schlieffen Plan, a swift and massive sweep through Belgium and northern France, would quickly bring them victory. However, the Allies had mustered their own forces, preparing to meet the German advance with a determined resistance. They were ready to turn the tide. One of the most remarkable aspects of this battle was the use of Parisian taxis, an event known as the Taxi de la Marne. The French commandeered these taxis to ferry troops to the front line in a desperate bid to reinforce their defenses. It was an extraordinary example of improvisation in the face of adversity, a testament to their resolve. The Allies launched their counter-offensive with a ferocity that took the Germans by surprise. The French and British forces pushed back the German Second Army, stalling their advance and shifting the momentum of the battle. This was no easy victory though. The fighting was intense, the casualty rate high. Men fought with grim determination, aware that the fate of France hung in the balance. Despite their initial gains, the Germans were unable to sustain their advance. The counteroffensive had thrown them off balance, forcing them to retreat. The French and British forces had not just held the line, they had pushed it back, forcing the Germans to reconsider their strategy. The Battle of the Marne was a significant setback for the Germans, who had hoped for a quick victory in France. Instead, they found themselves embroiled in a battle that would set the stage for the prolonged and intense trench warfare that characterized much of the First World War. The Battle of the Marne was a turning point, a moment when the course of history swerved in an unexpected direction. The Battle of the Marne marked a turning point in the First World War. In the aftermath, the German forces found themselves in retreat. It was the beginning of what would become known as trench warfare, a brutal and grueling stalemate that would define the Western Front for years to come. The Marne was not just a physical clash, it was a clash of strategies, a test of endurance. The battle's significance lies not in the victory of the French and British forces, but in what it prevented. A quick German victory was off the table now. The war was no longer a sprint, it was a marathon. The Battle of the Marne transformed the conflict, leading to a stalemate that would prolong the war. The strategic and psychological impact of this battle was profound. It challenged previous notions of warfare, forcing both sides to reassess their strategies. So in many ways, the First Battle of the Marne set the tone for the rest of the war, a war that would last 4 long years and change the world forever.